The whole day. Welcome to Body, everybody. Good evening. How are you doing? Y'all already know how nervous that I am all the time doing stuff like this. So I wrote some bullet points to welcome y'all into this evening's panel discussion. This is the first WESpoke gallery talk. As y'all know, I'm Amanda Shea all day. Shea like the butter for all my melanated peoples, don't play me. I am the Spoke artist in residence, formerly Medicine Wheel. Spoke has worked alongside artists of color for 3 decades to address HIV, AIDS, addiction, racism, and other issues. Earlier this year, we launched Days Without Art to raise consciousness of the systemic health inequities that the pandemic has laid bare for people of color. Tonight's panel continues that conversation. Future WESpoke talks will feature artists talking about climate change, addiction, recovery, amongst other topics. Please support this organization so we can continue to amplify the artists, the voices, in addressing these urgent social changes. I hope y'all enjoy this evening's panel discussion, and we're gonna go right into a screening of Bodies. Body. I used to love my body. Flexible like the air of my sign, lightweight, I could hold myself up. Back bends, front flips, my inner animal soared. Until I lost an ovary. Felt like I was no longer woman, mother. She birthed my sister at 35. My sis said no more. Before then, surgical tongs. Wish it were only a cavity to fill this hurts. Losing a piece of myself, trying to find the peace in it. Thought it was over. Now my neck, carried weight of men wedlock, almost broke me. My vertebrae is no longer straight like my gender non-binary. Contortionists don't conform. I was a gymnast. Flew over obstacles, balanced light beams, my discs skipped somewhere. Nerves pinched. Blood clots form pretty little circles. This ring around my finger reminds me it burns. When I lift my hands to the sky, the right goes numb. Down to my pointed finger. Childhood, I sucked my thumb. Instinct knew I'd missed the feeling. Surgery again. Every time, there's a risk. Every time, there's a risk. Tired of looking down tunnels, I can't scream, my voice is an echo, etched in my mind. Used to hate the sound, now I grasp it, capture every inflection, lungs collapse at the image of me yelling. I'm voiceless. It invades my power, silences my journey. I'm mad. I'm hurt. I'm pissed. Why is it so dark? I loathe the light. It teases me, tells me to look within myself while doctors are steady taking away body parts, examining the damaged goods, discarded, always a spectacle. I need a miracle. God's plan. This body feels unfinished. How can I, as a black, queer woman, feel whole?
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariel. I am the moderator for tonight's conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm not quite sure where I should be looking, but hopefully I'm looking at the right spot. You guys all just saw the video Body by Amanda Shea, and so that's going to kind of be the center for our conversation tonight with our amazing panelists that we have here. So starting to my right, I just want everybody to kind of quickly give their names and kind of like what the work it is that you do, because you all kind of work in the health space in different ways, through art, through like clinician work. So yeah, just a quick introduction.
All right. Hope you all can hear me loud and clear. My name is Oliver Burns. I am CEO and co-founder of Trendstream. We are a media and event production company. I am a dancer, performing artist. I guess that's the health side of what I do. Yeah. Thank you guys for attending and having me.
Next.
This is me. Hi, good evening. My name is Danica Alvarez, and I am the CEO and founder of Curving Curvy Strong. We are an organization that supports females that live with endometriosis and those that live or are survivors of sexual violence. We do working within the community, and we're just basically about healing and teaching people how to survive and how to be supportive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you really need an intro, but go ahead.
Hey. First of all, y'all are so beautiful. Thank y'all. Y'all know me, Amanda Shea. I am the Spoke Artist in Residence here that is hosting this amazing panel tonight. I'm also just a creative. I'm leaning out of multidisciplinary artist. I feel like creative is just more the way to go. I'm happy to be here. Most of y'all know who I am, but for those who don't, I'm a spoken word artist, and a lot of my work centers around my experiences, a lot of intergenerational trauma, and a lot of just health experiences. So I'm just happy to be here.
Hi, my name is Brandy Blaze. I'm a rapper. I'm also a youth worker. I'm the program manager at Mission Safe. It's a nonprofit that works with Black and brown youth in Boston in violence intervention and prevention.
Hi guys, this is Abdul Johnson, aka Jabs. I am a dancer / rapper, here artist in Boston.
Hi everyone, my name's Adriana Bolin, and I love for a living, and the way that I do that is through creating spaces where people can be and feel seen and contributing to those spaces, and love helping people tune into themselves. And the way I do that now, I work within community engagement and recruitment at Fenway Health in research and medicine.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like the reason why Amanda kind of convened everybody here today is because, like I said, everybody, for Black people especially, health is such a nuanced topic, and I feel like we have so many different ways of approaching health as Black people. But the thing that stood out to me the most about Amanda's video was specifically like for people with wombs, with a uterus, sometimes there are a lot of health issues that we don't see or that we don't talk about as much. Mm-hmm. And Danica, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the work that you do with women who are living with endometriosis, and also, you know, the other stuff, sexual violence, all the stuff that we don't really see sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. So chronic illnesses, people, I think the norm for society is you see an illness, you talk about illness, you see it's something that they want to see physically. Mm-hmm. And I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis when I was 12 years old. And the rhetoric then was, it's all in your head, because they still didn't have an idea of how it started and how you can get it and how to cure, and 30-something years later, they still don't. But I also come from a cultural background where they didn't understand that nuance of pain, and because you can't see it, it's not something physical like eczema or the asthma, you can't really relate well to it. So it's pain. It's like, okay, well, pick yourself up and get through the day. But dealing with this disease on any level, because everybody faces it differently, it's very difficult, especially when you have to have surgery. I've had over 12 surgeries, and every time they take a slice of me, it's a little bit harder to maneuver, to get through, to still keep my femininehood intact, still be able to get through the day and not be depressed that I can't have children anymore, or that I lost 4 children in this process, because it creates infertility in some women. Some people have seizures. It's very painful when you have your periods or when you don't. It's hard on a lot of women when you're chronically in pain and you have to go to work and you have to raise kids, or you're married and you have to deal with that, because it can be painful intercourse as well. So you're dealing with pain. And then as Black women, when we go to the doctor and we're saying, here, this is what I'm feeling, we're told it's in your head, or this is not what you're really feeling, this is not how to deal with this. And it's harder, and I left a doctor when I was younger for that, because his bedside manner was not necessarily degrading, but dismissing, and telling me that I wasn't really feeling what I was feeling. And so it is a hereditary disease. My mother was stage 2, my daughter is stage 1. With her, she gets seizures. Never seen that before. So it does go from 1 to 4, 4 being the worst. And she gets seizures. She had one episode where she had 13 seizures back to back, from outside where she landed to the hospital. And it's very scary. And the doctor's immediate response was, it's all in her head. She's faking it. This is never a part that we saw with endometriosis. She needs therapy. Then her primary care doctor became diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, and her tunes changed. Her tune immediately changed.
But do you think the world's view of like how women, or especially Black women, have this image of having a high pain tolerance, you think that has a lot to
Absolutely.
So having this disease and going through the pain, there are times where my pain tolerance has become high, because when I was younger and my mother would take me I lived in the ER basically when I was young, constantly. But when you're constantly going and they're telling you there's nothing wrong, there's nothing new, we can't help you, and they just fob you off on medicine. So then you learn to, okay, I don't want to go to the hospital anymore. I don't like that place. They're not doing anything new. They're not listening to me. They're not trying to figure it out. Their idea right now is that give her medicine and she'll leave. Give her a thing, she'll leave. She'll go away. Because we don't see anything. We don't care to search further.
Right. Are there other people on the panel who've, like, I know I've dealt with that, like specifically kind of like pertaining to my weight, like some of my health issues being just kind of like brushed off. Are there other people, I mean, we have Black women on this panel, also Black men. Have y'all ever dealt with that? Like when you're trying to take care of your body and you're literally being told like, endure this pain, like we don't believe you.
Something that struck me while you were sharing is the amount of that was across this table, and that with every was a shared experience, a relation, and so much history. I could feel it. I was like, oof, feeling all these feelings. I'm an empath. One of what I'm living with is fibromyalgia, which is a chronic fatigue syndrome. I was diagnosed when I was a teenager, which was a journey in of itself, because I was told what I was feeling was in my head, couldn't be seen, and you know, it was fighting. I felt something and felt that I was questioning myself for what I was feeling and didn't feel comfortable or from at that point, I felt like I had to validate myself. And those are patterns that I'm unlearning right now, and how to validate and support myself. So it's hard. It's hard to advocate for yourself. And, my mom came to this country and we learned together. She came from Jamaica and we learned together. And in learning together, we're not always privy to all the tools and the ways of life here. And so we're trying to learn from that place while also being within a system that wasn't built for us to thrive and understand to begin with. So trying to overcome, I heard more like shared experiences. It's hard, but we're so resilient, but it's hard.
I think personally, I think when I hear about that, I don't think more of physical. I think of more like depression and being told you're okay, and like you're not going through depression. Like you're okay, you'll get over it. And like dealing that with not just like going to learning about people we don't need to be the one therapist. We need to see therapy. Therapy is. Well, this is whatever they think about therapists, in your household. And I guess my household, especially my father, was just so against therapy, and so against me going to that and search for myself, because nothing was wrong with me, because he grew up with mentally just not having someone there supporting him or anything. So he felt like because I'm out of it and I'm doing this, then you can do that too, And that's something else. So you don't physically see that somebody's body that's going through, but that's when I hear that, that's what I think of,
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's why Body is a really special poem for me, because I literally wrote that 20 minutes after I was diagnosed with 2 dislodged discs, the C2 and C3, and also I had some spinal bruising on my spinal cord and arthritis. They immediately went into this invasive way of explaining what the surgery was going to be like without even asking me if I wanted surgery. And this was 5 days after my birthday. So I went into the hospital. This is 5 years after I went to the ER, I've been to my PCP, I've been everywhere. And I'm like, I have pain, my arm goes numb, something's wrong.
Right.
And then, fake checking, putting me on relaxers, muscle relaxers. I'll never forget that. The hospital was like, oh, it's gonna go down. They put some ice on it, stuck an IV in me, and gave me Flexeril, 5 milligrams, and was like, here you go. Be on your way. In a couple of days, it should go down.
Right.
And it was just terrible, because even with the surgery, it was just so disingenuous of how they were explaining it. And then even the way that they rushed me to go book the appointment was kind of inappropriate. And then before I even walked out of their office, they were like, do you want a neck brace? And I'm like, do I even need that? I'm walking in thinking, they finally figure out what's wrong. And then they offer the neck brace, and I'm still in shock. I'm just like, did I just walk out of there and them telling me that they would have to stick a needle in my neck to get to my 2 dislodged discs, to take them out, to then fill it with this plastic piece that they would then put bone marrow in, whether from a deceased person who's already passed away or from my own hip, which would only be a little bit of bruising. It would be a little sore. So I can make that decision, and then they would insert it, and then I would have to be laying down for 8 weeks with 2 teenage boys. 8 weeks.
Yeah.
What do you do? So Body came out of that, and I immediately just went into writing. I was in the Social Security Administration office right over here in Roxbury, filling out paperwork because they told me I needed to go and do this. And I think I was just trying to process everything too fast, that on my way there, I'm just like, oh, well, I have to have money for this surgery because I'm going to be out of work for 8 weeks, without really processing the fact that I'm just taking these steps. It was just not even completely thinking it through. And I broke down in the Social Security office, and then I just wrote this poem.
And it's sad because you put so much trust into these people who get paid to take care of you. And it's like they go to school for it and all these other things, and
you slowly learn that if they're asking for money, you can't trust them.
And also, are they really paid to take care of us, or are they really paid to promote drugs.
Keep you in the dust house.
I have to say that because when I was young and going through all of these different medications, whether they were new and they were trying them with me and they didn't know what the results were going to be, they didn't help. Nothing helped. And so when you're constantly given, oh, just take this, keep taking this, keep taking this, but there's a side effect to your liver, or there's a side effect to this, don't take this all together, but you're giving me just medicine and medicine and medicine. And so my daughter right now is on one of the shots to help her maintain her endo, so she doesn't have the seizures. And another doctor prescribed different meds for her. So now she can't have her shot because it turns out the meds that the doctor prescribed would affect her heart with the other one. And I'm like, do these people not speak to each other? Why is there not a conversation?
No matter how much notes they take on your portfolio, whatever they call it, they never go back and read it. Or,
That part.
There should be somebody that's, I mean, I advocate for myself, but there should be people advocating constantly for better bedside manners.
That part.
And not 15 minutes in the doctor's office. Because in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you can't learn anything about somebody. You really, it's just what they told you, but you really can't figure out how their body works, how their brain works. So what kind of plan can you develop in 15 minutes? And then they're rushing you out the door. See you again in a year.
Right. I feel like a lot of it is health advocacy, and I'd be interested in hearing from you, Brandy, because you kind of work on that side with youth and like just teaching them the language to speak up for themselves. Like, I don't know if any youth have ever come to you with like these types of issues as far as like either like doctors or just the medical field in general minimizing their pain. But yeah, I just wanted to.
I think overall for my kids, I just try to teach them to advocate for themselves in all avenues. Just because with my own experiences, I can't get diagnosed with anything because they won't see past my weight. So I can't get medicated if I need it because the very first reaction is, why don't you just lose weight and that'll help? And I'm like, but I don't think I could lose weight in my tonsils. And my tonsils aren't supposed to be this big all the time. Like I'm in my 30s and I finally found someone that takes me seriously because she literally just looked in my mouth and was like, are your tonsils always that big? And I was like, yes, they are. And, you know, I might possibly have sleep apnea. And they're like, it's probably like, it's not the weight, it's your tonsils. And I'm an artist as well. Like, I rap. Like, I need to be able to breathe correctly. It causes me a lot of issues. I have a lot of pain, and, you know, dealing with strep throat and things like that because of my tonsils. So, or just, you know, even trying to get mental health assistance. I've been told I couldn't get a mental health referral because they wanted me to lose weight instead. And I'm someone, I have an extensive trauma history. I've already been diagnosed with depression. I've already been diagnosed with anxiety. I was trying to go back on medication because my mental health was so bad. And they were just like, yeah, well, we want you to lose 7 pounds in a week. Come back in a week and we'll talk about it. And I didn't go back to the doctor for 5 years after that. It just never went back. And now I finally have someone that's like, takes me seriously and was like, you were homeless for a while? Like, you went through this, you went through that? Like, when I got the trauma questionnaire, I had to check off yes to everything. That's how extensive it is. So it's good to finally, it takes so long. Like, I shouldn't be in my 30s and just now having someone that takes me seriously and sees past my body and sees, like, I have a lot going on that I need help with. Like, and I need the correct treatment. Because losing weight isn't gonna make my depression go away. It's not. Losing weight isn't gonna solve the issue with my tonsils. You know, and so with my youth, I just always teach them just to advocate for yourself. You can't take no for an answer. There's gonna, if you're gonna get a no over here, there's gonna be someone else that's gonna say yes. That goes to in the healthcare field, that goes to trying to find a job, that goes to being an artist. There's gonna be someone else that's gonna say yes and take you seriously. You can't just take the no, because especially as Black women, and especially with fat phobia in healthcare as well, a no can lead to death. How many people have died because they couldn't get a diagnosis, because they're like dying of cancer and they won't even screen you for it. They'll be like, just go lose weight and come back.
Thyroid diseases.
I'm literally
Thyroid disease runs in my family. They've
Whether you're
never tested
skinny
me.
or you're big, you can learn.
They always tell you, oh, well, it's probably your weight. Like, try to lose weight and see if the pain goes away. And I'm like, no, I've had this pain for years. Like, how are you telling me that this is weight
Almost all the women in my family have thyroid disease. This is the first doctor that thought, maybe we should test her for thyroid disease. If her mother and her grandmother, her aunts and her cousins all have it.
But they're not going to look at you like that and test you for that, because and most of us are dealing with male doctors in some large degree. Definitely not our own people for doctors, because one, they're really minimal in scale of doctors. They're either going into surgery or something bigger, but they're not like primary care doctors. And then when you go to them, they're not going to look at that. They look at you and they're like, how do I get her out of the building in 15 minutes?
That's like pro tip, go see a nurse practitioner. They're always better. I refuse to see a doctor. I go to see a nurse practitioner.
It sounds like no matter, because I thought this was only real for me in school, like learn the system and then manipulate it to work for you. Like you literally have to cheat the system in every aspect of life, and that's kind of weird to me. Like it's just weird. Like I have to know to ask a doctor something, and if they give me a no, I gotta know that you might be bullshitting me. Let me go to the next doctor. Let me go to 5 more doctors before I get the right answer. Or like you said, let me check yes on every one of these trauma questions, so they know, so they have no choice but to take me. And it's like I have to be this extreme in order to get help. It's crazy.
Or we create our own. We create our own advocacies. We create our own people that are willing to learn, willing to implement, because there's holistic medicine, there's all kinds of other medicine, and there's people that will genuinely listen to you and try to diagnose you, because there's not many people that are diagnosing anymore. It's just, oh, there's a pill for that. Oh, there's a pill for that. Here's another pill for that. And you get tired of taking, at one point there was 30 bottles in my medicine cabinet that I had to take on a daily basis, and it gets exhausting.
Yeah, they won't even tell you that there's a patient advocate who they literally employ to advocate for you. Right. They don't even tell you that.
I didn't know that. Thank you for the info. For everybody out there, there are patient advocates. Get you one.
And if you can't get you one, see me, because I'll come and advocate for you.
That part.
You got another question, or can I just?
No, go ahead.
Because I'm just trying to flow, because I feel like I don't have any experience being diagnosed with anything genetically, but I have been under the knife once when I was 18, and that's because of something I ate, right? Well, I'm learning through food. So there's I don't want you guys to take this as if it's like something you need a pap smear for, but it's called Gynocomastia, and it's when it's common in a lot of men, but a lot of men don't notice it because it happens in both sides. It's when you start growing breast tissue, and it comes from plastics. It's weird. So plastic breaks down into small particles called BPA. Have you guys learned how long it takes for plastic to decompose?
It takes like millions of years.
They told us that. 20 years is like the shortest time it takes for plastic to decompose. So when it decomposes, it goes down to smaller particles called BPA. When we digest that or ingest that, it acts as estrogen in our body, which causes whatever estrogen does to your body. So I started growing breast tissue in my left side. My niece, she's 5 now. When she was 2, she started growing breast tissue. At 2, she has titties. It's like, so this is when we started paying attention a lot more to the things we eat and how we warm up our food and what we eat off of. Growing up from the hood, microwave and noodles were everything, right? Now I learned you shouldn't never microwave your noodles in that plastic bowl. Warming up your food on plastic, shouldn't do it.
They're still doing that.
I mean, that's probably why I got these. A lot of plastic.
So like, just being aware of, there was a saying, I forget what movie or whatever it was, but something about food is your medicine and if it's not, then medicine becomes your medicine. And learning that was just like breaking down what's in our food and where it comes from. So like fish have a high level of this BPA because there's a gelatinous mass of this stuff in the ocean right now, just churning. And the fish are gonna eat it, the big fish are gonna eat it, we're gonna go catch that fish, and then we're gonna eat that fish, and now it's in our bodies. Same thing with like pigs. Pigs eat any and everything. So if they have whatever they digest, it's ridiculous. So like, it's hard to be vegan. I'm not a vegan. It's hard to be a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. But I'll just say it makes me want to take that leap so much more. And I've started eating more in moderation. As a dancer, I noticed the whole 3 square meals a day thing never really felt true to me because I've always felt sluggish, heavy, tired, exhausted from just eating 3 square meals, right? So now that I'm older, I realize my work life only allows me to eat once a day and snack for most of the day. And I feel more limber doing that. And when I went to the doctor earlier this year, I was like, I told him, he was like, yo, how's your diet and stuff? I'm like, this may sound weird, but I feel like that 1 meal a day, 3 meals a day thing is a myth, and I think it should be going this way. He was like,
we just had a conversation about
you're actually, you're onto something. Like, he told me that 1 square meal thing is actually where we need to lean towards, and of course, throughout the other snack periods, eating periods, snack more on fruits, veggies,
Right. Right.
Small little cashews. That's why I keep my cashews in my car. But
and I feel like we've talked a lot about maybe times that we felt like betrayed by our bodies, or I don't know, maybe like a type of way about our bodies. But I kind of wanted to get into, as we move into like the last half of the conversation, is like, what do y'all do to feel good in your body? Is there something that makes you feel good? I know most of y'all are artists or expressive or creative in some way. So what do you do to feel good about your body, about this body that you're in?
What's the rating on this?
Oh, you mean like,
rating.
I was going to say that. I was going to say self-love is very important.
Self-love.
Okay.
And actually,
Take that how you want.
Health-wise, May is masturbation month, so masturbation is healthy for all y'all people out there. That is something that you can do. That's actually it's a thing. You can look it up. May is masturbation month. So beyond that, what do y'all like to do to feel good itself?
I think with me personally, it's weird saying this because if you see my social media, it's totally opposite, right? Right. So it took me a long time to accept my body. I'm a very thin person, so like I would never take my shirt off in front of no one, not even my family, like at all. But if you look at my social media, my shirt's off everywhere. But it's a thing of like me. It's kind of like me coping with like trying to accept it, and maybe it's like a good. Maybe it's good or bad, because I'm putting it out there subconsciously, wanting good feedback.
validation.
Damn.
So validation for myself, So me to feel like, okay, like somebody out there likes the way I look.
Right.
Maybe I need to like the way I look, And then it's like, it took me a while, and it starts with like the mentality, because I suffer from depression since I was 15, and that's something I just that's never going to go away. And I just mentally had to like just love myself again, and literally have conversations with myself, and like I acknowledge like when I'm feeling down, I know I'm down, you'll see that I'm down, and I acknowledge until you're down, you're upset, and I think with my body, I really had to just have a conversation with myself and like tell myself that you look good, like like accept it, whatever, you can always change it if you want to change it. I have a fast metabolism, so I can't just get big off the rip.
Right.
You know, but there is a way to get to wherever I want to look like, whatever that is. You know, and I like, not a lot of people know, but maybe my best friend, but I also had a thing with being dark skinned. And like I hated being dark skinned. And I hated like, that's why I don't like to go to the beaches, because I don't like to be like in the sun too long, because I'm like afraid of like being dark. And I don't know if that triggered from like growing up and like people around me saying I was dark, and like the people on the block always make fun of if I was a darker, like they've never seen a dark person before, you know. So it's just weird. But it was like being like really dark skinned when I was younger was like ugly. So it's just like having to deal with my weight and then deal with being dark skinned at the same time from black people who were like light skinned. Like it's weird, like, you know. And it's just again, it's just me. For me, it was just more of just really having to sit down with yourself, take that time for yourself. You know, like people say all the time, you're home or you're doing a lot of, we're working, we're doing this, we're being mother, we're being father, you're doing all whatever. You always need to make that time for yourself. But what are you doing in that time for yourself? You know, and that time for myself, I'm having conversations with myself. You know.
Respect.
Yeah.
I only called those people out when Black Panther came out, and they were like,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
everybody was like, "Oh, it's so popular to be melanated now."
Colorism is so nasty, but I think it's, I thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's important too that while like self-love, yes, like we all should love ourselves, we have to also acknowledge like things like colorism, fat phobia, like there are really real systems that make us feel a type of way about how we look and how we are. So thank you for bringing that up.
I mean, being an artist, it's like you're constantly on display,
Right.
Which is hard. I have experienced sexual trauma since 9 years old. I have had ovarian cancer. I have had 2 cesarean births. I've had, you know, the spinal anxiety. Like at one point I was like embarrassed to have panic attacks in front of people. Like imagine some of what Jabs was saying as far as like colorism, you know, living in Hyannis, Cape Cod, being brought up there and then drastically being shipped to South Carolina was like a culture shock to me. I didn't fit in either way. And I think for me, as Jabs had said, like that's how I, you know, practice self-love is through art. I take a lot of photos. People ask me all the time, they're like, are you modeling? And I'm like, I don't consider myself a model. I just consider myself like a creative. Again, like for me, taking pictures allows me to see like where I'm at in that space and time to be able to move through it. It's almost like if I show my most vulnerable self to the world, I accept myself a lot more. Because that's what a lot of the times that we're fearful of, right? Is like people and what they're gonna say. We talk about that all the time in social media, like people getting dragged and canceled and all these other things. It's like, that's a real thing. And when you're an artist and everything is based off of image, it's hard, especially when you have these scars that you're carrying around and the shadow work and the trauma that you haven't dug deep to even acknowledge the fact that you have those. Nonetheless, when you do realize that you have them and then just working through them, because now I know what's bothering me, but how do I work through that? And I am gonna advocate a lot for therapy because I think that we need to normalize therapy in Black and brown communities. Absolutely. It has helped me tremendously to be able to give somebody all of my pain, all of my trauma, all of the things that I'm asking myself out loud instead of relying on my friends to process or re-triggering my friends with my stuff. We don't even go into conversations asking permission. We don't. So when I call someone with my heaviness and my issues, I don't know what is gonna stir up for them.
Right.
So I think it's, for me, self-care, self-love is to be my most vulnerable self, because I feel like vulnerability is gonna heal the world. Once everyone realizes that they share a lot of the same experiences, more importantly, emotions, because that's what it is, emotions. The experiences can also look different. Circumstance can look different. Situations can look different. But the emotions are all very real.
Right.
I want to hear from everybody else too.
Sure,
Hello.
I can share.
Yeah, please share.
I love what we've said about self-love. I practice yoga in more ways than one. I love practicing the yoga asanas, which are the postures. Those keep me grounded. I'm also certified in Reiki, which is a form of energy healing. I've, over the past year, had a strong focus in tuning into myself. We've talked a lot about validation, and I realized how much I was trying to defend myself outside of myself, when really I just need to see myself. And so I've focused a lot on tuning into who I am, how I feel, my authentic self, which is being my vulnerable self, and realizing that showing up as that person is what the world needs.
Definitely.
That's fair.
Brandy Blaze, yeah.
When I've actually started belly dancing recently. Yes. I am I danced from 3 until into my 20s, and then I was hit by a car and injured my knee, so that was pretty much the end of that. But it's been really good. It's very, very hard. I think especially as a Black woman, when we dance, we just hold our pelvis like in a very different way than they want you to do when you're moving like that. But it makes me feel good about my body, but then also it feels good to be dancing again, because I really did. I don't think I realized how much I missed it and like how big of a part of like my formative years it was.
Let's dance. Let me see something.
I am a newbie. It is not good.
That brought me to a good question for Oliver and Jabs, though. Can I ask a question?
Dance, yeah.
Like dance, y'all are dancers. Like, I was a gymnast, so I understand that world was really grueling and very competitive. So, like, what is it like being in like the dance world, especially with
What's it like being in the dance world?
Yeah, how does that? I guess how do you view your image in dance, like the physicality of it and like the imagery of it?
Well, dang, I had something so ready for how I love myself.
Maybe answer that and then go into
do that, and then you'll think of that.
Gosh, all right.
Sorry. Like she said, dance.
I go on these commercial breaks with.
Yeah, you did say that.
You did.
All right, so you're gonna have to ask that question again, by the way, so I could conjure up something. But self-love for me, I do a lot of things. I'm like, I can't even think of my answer at this point. But it's funny, as a dancer, you would think I would immerse myself more in music. But I like to ride in silence a lot. I drive a lot everywhere. Being an entrepreneur, you find yourself being pulled in many different directions. And during that time, I'm in my head. Well, not really in my head. I'm just driving in silence, working on speeches that I know I would never give, working on theories that I thought of, or just in my head a lot, asking those questions. I guess it's a way of diving more into myself, into self, which I feel like a lot of people are afraid to do. But me, I like mirrors, and I like putting them up to folks. That's one. Another thing.
A word.
Another thing is, I never noticed this. Now that I drive more, I realized a relaxing time for me was driving, getting on the MBTA.
Yeah.
Looking out the window, having the headphones, and even when I had my headphones in, then there was nothing playing.
You just don't want no one to talk to you. Don't talk to me.
Headphones in, just enjoying the view out the window.
You don't have to worry about traffic.
Nothing, carefree. That's why a lot of my choreo was created on the T, but now I'm driving and it's created in my head now. But I enjoy views, like city views, scenic views. I feel like I am, I'm an earth dweller, so I like to I like to look at outside of buildings. I like to look at ocean at night, mountains,
Birth chart?
stars.
Yeah, what's your chart? What's your sign? I was about to ask you that. What's your sign?
Across the table. What's your sign?
Well, I've been told that I'm a double Gemini because I was born in the middle of the month, in the middle of the year. I don't know what that means, but I'm a Gemini. I have a twin brother. So I always say I cancel that out.
That's weird. That's real weird. Whoa.
We're 36 minutes apart, if you want to know that.
Oh, wow.
What else? That's all I got. But yeah, that's self-love for me.
What time are you on?
I was born at 3:15.
Right, we're about to do your whole natal chart. What's your rising and moon?
I was born June 15th, born at 3:15, and my brother was born 36 minutes after, which was like 3:50 something. And
Year?
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, 90.
Gemini twins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a
That
lot of
numerology though is
Yeah.
It's crazy.
break that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my self-love.
Wow. Oof.
And then the question about dance, Amanda's question about dance.
So about my image and restate that.
I
Please.
don't even remember what the question was.
But I feel like it was about like dancing and joy,
Like body
right?
image
And body image, and have those things helped.
I think the perfect example right now, which is like you see more now, is more than you've seen before, is you see all different types of body images in dance now.
Yeah, I love that.
Like it's not just a strict like as it was back in the day. You need to look like this, you can't do this size, because there is, unfortunately, they still have this thing called typecasting
Right.
in the dance community.
What is that?
So typecasting is when you go into an audition for like a dance, for like Beyonce or whatever. The first part of it may just be a typecast, meaning they're looking for a particular look. They won't even tell you what it is though. So you can walk in without even dancing and get cut just because of
How
the way
you
you
look.
look. And that still is something that's happening today.
Right.
Maybe they're a little bit more quote unquote lenient, for lack of a better term now, but that's still a thing. And you can be the best dancer in the world, but just
And they
because
would
you're
still-
skinny and black, they don't want to look for a black. They're looking for
Right.
an Indian that's thicker or something. Well, you would never know. They would
Right.
never tell you. You just get cut by typecasting. You know.
Dang, I'm glad I never had to go through that because I feel like with dance I never took the traditional route of being a professional dancer. I even just accepted the term of being a professional dancer like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Even though I've been dancing since I was 9 and making money off it since I was 21. Turning 31 this year.
Oh, happy birthday.
Like flex.
So, yeah. But I have nothing negative. I guess I could say a lot of people assume that I'm healthy or that I'm just because I look in shape. I used to tell people all the time I got balloon muscles, which is it's not really true. But dancing for 5 minutes straight, full energy, dead. I can show you a video of me dancing for 5 minutes. And in that video, it cuts to 20 minutes later. I'm still drenched sweating. So like, and I know it's a different type of workout, I've never liked cardio ever. The only cardio for me as a kid from the hood was basketball. Outside of that, I ain't running for nothing. Like,
Bike riding.
Not a thing. And riding
That was mine. Yeah.
like, that was it. So as I'm older, I'm definitely trying to get more, and I know that breathing is everything. So gotta get into running. But body image for me in dance is I'm just a walking sex symbol, even though I don't want to be. Like, I'm fortunate, but it's fortunate. But
Me too.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Your painting and struggle is hard out here.
But yeah.
Right.
But no, I think that honestly, just like now seeing it in a dance community that there's more of like images, it helps me, somebody like me, a lot because I see somebody like Oliver or I see somebody like who has more of like the muscular, masculine build back in the day and feel like I'm not gonna make it because they're gonna choose that. I don't have that. But now that you see like all these people have all different sizes, it's like I have more of a chance. I feel like now mentally, which helps people like us, like get out of that ideal that you're not gonna just make it because they're not gonna care about your dance capabilities, they're gonna care about your image.
Right.
Which is again, that's still happening.
Right.
But we're making little steps, small steps.
Yeah.
And
Kanye West was literally just called out for that. Well, a couple years ago.
For typecasting?
Who is this?
Yeah, for typecasting. And the typecast was like exotic looking. It was like exotic. They didn't want to say light skin, but they were using like all of the code words for like skinny light skin girl. And people were like, come on, bro. It's like, I think it was like 2018. They were like, how are we still doing this right now?
Right.
So we have about 5 minutes left. I'm assuming we can go over a little bit, but I also want to make sure that who did not turn off their phone? But I want to make sure we respect everybody's time. And I love doing this, and I'm sure this will spark more discussion. But I don't know if you guys watch Jesus and Miro, but they usually ask their people, like, if you had like a slogan in neon letters for the people watching and also watching you and your art. Are you for real?
That's me. I'm Boston.
Yo, we're trying to film here.
That part.
What would the slogan be? Like, what would your slogan to live life by would be after this conversation?
Oh, after. Oh.
No, like after us having had this conversation.
No, because I was definitely asked this past weekend when I was in Memphis, and I feel more prepared now. It's amazing. So my slogan for life is to whose standard? Anything you ask me, I'm gonna ask you to whose standard? Oh, you can't walk into a store or this restaurant just like that. To whose standard? Like, I like to wear sweatpants to every meeting for the simple fact that I'm trying to kill that image of professionalism. Like, it has to be this blue collar 3-piece suit for you to be professional. I show up on time with my sweatpants, my camera ready, and I promise you'll get a great product still. But that's it. To whose standard is my slogan.
I had never thought about this. I guess it would be live, love, and laugh. I feel like with all the things that I've gone through medically, I'm all about living every day as though it was your last, loving intentionally, and laughter, finding your joy, and every day finding something that brings you laughter, whether it's that deep belly laughter, and makes you stop for a second to enjoy that moment. And that's it.
Amanda Shea, and it can't be Amanda Shea all day.
I was supposed to be like, I have a slogan already, y'all. It's Amanda Shea all day. I like how I changed up the tone too. I don't know why I got serious. Even with y'all talking, I'm still like, I don't even know what I would say. I think the first two things that like popped up for me though was be unapologetically authentic. I think that was like it. Like be unapologetically you, and just be authentic. That's like two and whatever. Y'all
You
get
could
the
do a double.
you get the double whammy.
Be unapologetically authentic. So that was one.
There we go. All right. Okay. All right. It was cohesive. Okay.
I know, I do watch Jesus and Miro, so I know it's like a rainbow. Right. I'm waiting for the day they book me. Mine's is always been on black women.
Big facts.
Mine, I'll say this quickly, but this is like, that's like a synopsis of it. So mine, what I'm going through with this year, I'm gonna just pass on to like everyone I know who's like going through depression or anything mental-wise, is you only live once. Right?
YOLO.
And I say that, and it sounds cheesy, you know, because there's a song about it, blah, blah, blah. But if you really think about it, what I tell people is like, well, you can believe whatever you want to believe in. God, whoever you want to believe in, you can be whatever religion you want to be in. None of us have died and lived again to tell about it, right? So we don't know if there's a heaven and hell. We don't know if there's an afterlife. We don't know if you just die and live for eternity, yeah? So if you pass away now, can you really like say you lived your life for yourself? You know, or are you living for other people? Are you living for truly yourself? You know, and I always just say that to people, you only live once, so just do what you can with it, you know, and just live your life to the fullest.
I feel like your slogan should be, are you living for yourself?
Are you living?
I love that one.
Yes.
Because I think that slogan is amazing. even though I feel like I watched a movie that was like, you actually die once, but you live every day.
Yes.
I forget who said it.
You live every day and you die once.
Every day.
Yeah.
That's how you
For
live.
me, I'll say be loving awareness. And I say that because in my journey of this human experience, you know, the light and dark I've become aware of and love every bit of it and understand how it contributes to my life. So be loving awareness. It's grounding.
I love it. Yes. Wow, and look at that. We're right on time. It's 8 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
You want to dive in whose brain?
I'm sorry, I didn't remember your name.
Adriana.
Oh, Adriana.
Yeah, like spoke to my soul. I
Oh.
want to ask you what's the strongest shape in the universe, but we'll get in there.
Ooh,
Oh,
triangle?
can you answer that? What's the
Triangle?
strongest shape?
Shape?
Yeah.
The triangle.
Okay. I don't know how.
Feeling you was gonna say that because you seem like a woman of so much perspective.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna break down my shapes
Received.
in a while, not publicly yet because.
Well, now I want to hear everybody's answer.
Answer that
We disagree.
I would have said a circle. I thought, yeah.
Ooh.
You said a
I would think the triangle too because of the
right because right
and how they were built in the sturdy.
I would
and
like to say
architecture.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's based off of your
Right.
personality, but the right answer is a circle. But your right answer is your answer as well.
Yeah, no one said
I'm gonna
square.
break down more off camera, please.
We can break out groups.
Right?
No, Brandy and Jabson.
Oh no, we was like, we were going over here.
Oh, he's a triangle. Okay.
Math or science.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
So, Amanda,
Yes.
any last words for everybody out there watching, you know, as we gather here to watch your video?
Yeah, just keep speaking your truth. That's like my final saying to everybody. What you see with these poems, like, this is my life. They say art imitates life, but I feel like life is art. So just keep living your unapologetically authentic self, and just keep creating. Like, speak your truth. That's really all I have to say. And I hope that this conversation allows you to feel a little bit more comfortable with having these types of conversations. And if you've missed any of it, you can join us again. No, I'm just we're good here. Thank you all. Thank you, Ari, so much for moderating.
Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate
so glad
you so
to hear
much.
everyone's story. And actually, should we like let everybody just plug their whatever you want to plug real quick at the end of the line, your
Yeah.
Instagram or website or business?
Where to find you, how to get connected.
Right.
Whatever you want people to find.
Right.
There's some of us that don't want to be found on social
Find
media.
me on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Adriana Bolin. What else did I say? Everything. Check on everything. I might even have a high five. You'll see an old version of me, MySpace. Feel free to connect.
You can find me on Instagram, Young X Wild X Free, no O, one the Young. I have a new song out with Amanda, actually. It's called Nonstop on all streaming platforms. We have something special coming soon, a little secret coming soon as well. Excited for that. Find me on Sugar Babies. Also, I'll be on. I'm just playing.
I'm not turning down no sugar daddy either.
Okay, this is wrapping up, y'all.
Yes, you can find me at Brandy Blaze on all social media, all streaming services, BRANDIE, working on my third album, yay.
Yes.
And if you're interested in the youth work that I do, you can go to missionsafe.org.
Oh yeah, I'm like, wait, I'm plugging myself. Hi, Amanda Shea. You can find me at Amanda Shea all day on Instagram. Amanda Shea 06, 6 God. Mr. PSA, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can find me there on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook at Amanda Shea, AmandaShea.com, booking Amanda Shea at gmail.com in case you want to book me. y'all can find me. Yeah. And and you can find me here at Spoke as well. So definitely make sure that you follow Spoke on all Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all social medias, and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button to the YouTube if you're watching on YouTube to Spoke.
Hi again, Danica. You can find us online on our website, curvingcurvystrong.org. We have Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all Curving Curvy Strong. Thinking of anything else, and LinkedIn.
Awesome.
And join us for May for CCS Move 30. Just giving out a move for 30 days.
Okay. So yeah, for me, Oliver Burns, I have a lot of pages, but I'm just gonna point you to two. Company I mentioned already, Trendstream. It is Trendstream on everything. That's TRENDSTREAM. That is our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Also, I co-manage Nubian Gallery, so Nubian Gallery, Roxbury.com. It's a new coming art space and retail space, and it's gonna be everything. You guys should just come in.
Production space.
Yeah, just come see it.
Right
2164 Washington Street, right across from Haley House.
Next to Black Market.
Right
next to Black Market.
A lot of great things already happen in that space. So, yeah, Nubian Gallery on Instagram, Nubian Gallery, Roxbury.com to go visit the website.
Got you. And I am at Bonita Afrobum on Twitter and Instagram. Don't find me nowhere else. Don't DM me. Don't come to my Facebook. But yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Snaps for everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for tuning in.
So this is where it goes silent. We just fake talk until.
Body. I used to love my body. Flexible like the air of my sign, lightweight, I could hold myself up. Back bends, front flips, my inner animal soared. Until I lost an ovary. Felt like I was no longer woman, mother. She birthed my sister at 35. My sis said no more. Before then, surgical tongs. Wish it were only a cavity to fill this hurts. Losing a piece of myself, trying to find the peace in it. Thought it was over. Now my neck, carried weight of men wedlock, almost broke me. My vertebrae is no longer straight like my gender non-binary. Contortionists don't conform. I was a gymnast. Flew over obstacles, balanced light beams, my discs skipped somewhere. Nerves pinched. Blood clots form pretty little circles. This ring around my finger reminds me it burns. When I lift my hands to the sky, the right goes numb. Down to my pointed finger. Childhood, I sucked my thumb. Instinct knew I'd missed the feeling. Surgery again. Every time, there's a risk. Every time, there's a risk. Tired of looking down tunnels, I can't scream. My voice is an echo, etched in my mind. Used to hate the sound, now I grasp it. Capture every inflection, lungs collapse. At the image of me yelling, I'm voiceless. It invades my power, silences my journey. I'm mad. I'm hurt. I'm pissed. Why is it so dark? I loathe the light. It teases me, tells me to look within myself while doctors are steady taking away body parts, examining the damaged goods, discarded, always a spectacle. I need a miracle. God's plan. This body feels unfinished. How can I, as a black, queer woman, feel whole?